Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin. I'll show you the key support and resistance levels I'm watching. Plus, I'll give you an update on my position. So you're not going to want to miss that. And if you guys are enjoying this content, be sure to subscribe to the channel and also click the bell icon so that you get notifications because I am putting out these videos every day, Monday through Friday. All right, so the Bitcoin daily time frame. We have discussed this area around 35,000 really for the last week or two. And there's a lot happening here. So if you guys missed the video from last week, I'll recap it quickly right now. But 35,000 is made up by this trend line off of the bear market high. So from the bear market high back here, all the way to these lows from June and July. And then you can also see where back here in December of 2020, you can see where the market found some resistance through this area before breaking out. All right, so this trend line is kind of the first area or the first factor, I should say, of support. And the second one is going to be the Fibonacci retracement off of these lows back here in June, all the way up to the all-time high at $69,000. So you can see where the 786 lines up right around 34,700. Okay, so that's the second factor of support here. The third one being a Fibonacci retracement level off of the March 2020 low. So if we drag up here to the all-time high, you can see where this level also comes in around 34,700. So we have the 236 off of this range here. We have the 786 also at the same level off of the range from the June low up to the all-time high. And we also have that trend line. Now, furthermore, the last one is going to be the VPVR, which we've discussed before, and that shows you the volume by price. So what this means when you see a big area of yellow like this, what this tells you is that the market has spent a lot of time here in the past. And in the case of Bitcoin, the market has spent the most time over the past 12 months right around this area between $34,000 and $35,000. So that's thanks to this price action back here and also all of this through this area. So those four factors all line up right around $34,000 to $35,000. And that's why I had bids set down to that area. Now, so far today, it's holding above this region where you can see the market dip below it. And so far today is holding above it. We've had a nice bounce here over the past few hours, right below 36,000. In fact, hitting it right now as I make this video. So Bitcoin has had a nice recovery here from 33 all the way back up to $36,000 today. And so right now I am watching to see if this market can close the day above that level. If so, you can see where yesterday we had an inside day. And then today so far, this is a bullish pin bar. Now, in technical terms, that makes this an inside bar pin bar combination, which is typically a very bullish pattern. So if we see the market close above this area down here, so in order to complete that pattern, it would have to close inside of yesterday's low. So really right around $35,000. That is going to be the level to hold right through here today in order to complete that pattern. If it does, this area remains support. And my opinion is that we get a move up here toward 40 to 42,000 to really challenge that resistance area. And make no mistake about it, guys, this is going to be a very strong resistance area now because the market is below this on a daily and weekly closing basis. So you can see here on the daily, the market is below it, okay, clearly below it. And we have these two lows back here. And also, if you look at the weekly time frame and look at the last 12 months, this area has been critical over the past 12 months. So right now with the market being below it, this area is going to be resistance now. All right, so it was holding above it as support back here. We've now closed below it. So Bitcoin has to get back above 40 to 42 on a daily closing basis, at least at a minimum, in order to expose higher levels. Until that happens, guys, this downtrend is intact and you do have to be careful here. With that said, though, I do think that the short-term bottom is in, okay? That is what I think. It doesn't mean it is in. It doesn't mean that I'm right. But I do think that a short-term bottom is in for Bitcoin. Now, what does that mean exactly short-term? So I think we do get a move back up here toward 40 to 42 to challenge this area. And then, like I said, depending on where Bitcoin goes from there, that's going to depend on whether or not we get another lower high and a move down here into 30. Or if Bitcoin can break out, close the day above this area, flip it to support, and then challenge 45 to 46. That's going to be the next key area to break above. Above that is 50 to 53. Okay, so when I say short-term bottom, what I'm referring to is over the next few days, maybe week or two. I do think that this low down here is very likely to hold as long as we get that daily close back above $35,000. Okay, so now for an update on my position, which I know you guys want to hear about. So I was talking about a position between 42 and 35 for the last few weeks. In fact, I was talking about 40 to 42 ever since Bitcoin put in this liquidation wick back here on December 4th. So even when Bitcoin was trading up here, all the way up at $50,000, I was still saying that I think we get a move down here toward 40 to 42, and that's where I had bid set. Now, once we saw the market breaking down, I went ahead and set more bids down here toward $35,000 just because I felt that there was a good chance we got a retest there because of all of the support levels that I discussed at the beginning of this video. Okay, so my average entry right now is right around $38,000. Okay, so I am a little bit underwater right now, but that's okay because like I've said, this is a spot only position. I am not using any leverage here simply because the market is just way too volatile right now. And typically I don't use leverage. I use it very sparingly throughout the year, but in a market like this, I'm not gonna mess with leverage, spot only. So that's why I was able to just kind of sit on my hands when the market was dropping down here like this today, because I know that, like I've said before all the time on Twitter, the daily close is what matters. Intraday prices, I don't care about. I don't care where the 1 hour closes or even the 4 hour. All I care about is the daily, and this is why, guys. As you can see, the market is moving higher right now, 36,400 as I'm making this video. So this is why I pay attention to daily closes, because where today closes is going to matter. So again, intraday, a lot of people on Twitter are trying to chart this intraday, looking at the 15-minute chart, etc. I think that's a mistake. I think you can look at it for entertainment purposes only, but trying to make a trade or an investment based on that is not a good idea, in my opinion. So anyway, I'm still in that position now. Entry is right around 38,000. And I am still looking for a move up here into 45 to 46, potentially 50 to 53. But as I said earlier, Bitcoin has to get it back above 40 to 42. So it's made life a lot more difficult for itself with this drop down here to 35, because closing the week below this area means that the market is now going to have to battle all of those sellers up here between 40 to 42, and that is not going to be an easy task. So I am going to stay in this position as long as the market is above this area on a daily closing basis. Now, if we do get that move up here into 40 to 42, and let's just say that Bitcoin tests this area up here right around $42,000 over the coming days, then I will probably take a little bit of that position off because my entry, again, is right around 38. And I don't have that much confidence that we will see a breakout above this area without taking out this low down here. It could happen, okay? It could happen, but I don't want to just sit around and wait to see if it happens. I would rather take some of that position off while it's in profit, because I can always re-add on a close above this area. So if I take a little bit off here, that's okay, because if the market does break out, I can re-add on a retest of support for that move up into 45, 46, and potentially 50 to 53. But like I've said, downtrend is intact, lower highs, lower lows. That's what we're dealing with. So even if this is a bottom down here, which I think it is a short-term bottom, then we're looking at a move up here toward 40 to 42. And from there, that's going to decide the fate for Bitcoin here over the coming weeks. Now, let's talk about the volume here real quick, because this is something that I've been paying attention to today, because over the past few weeks and really few months, we have not seen a lot of buy volume. We've seen a lot of red volume, but we haven't seen a lot of volume on the buy side of things. So right now with this potential short-term bottom, okay, remember, potential short-term bottom, the volume we're seeing right now is looking pretty good. This is the most buy side volume that we've seen in some time as the market is coming off this low down here at 33. So if you look over the past weeks and again, really the months, the most volume we've seen on these candles was typically, especially recently, on red candles. And so you can see this big block of green that we're seeing right now. And this is something that we have not seen over the past few weeks. So also indicative of a potential short-term bottom in that we're seeing volume confirm that there are a ton of bids being placed in this region right now. All right, so the volume is confirming it, but like I said, what we do want to see is the daily close back above at least this area around 35. Okay, so it could drop down toward 34,700, but I would really like to see it close back above the $35,000 level to confirm that bullish signal, that inside bar, pin bar signal that I talked about for that move up toward 40 to 42. Now, if that doesn't happen and we do see Bitcoin close the day down here, okay, if we see a lot of selling pressure come in later in the session, Bitcoin closes below 35, especially 34,700, then I do think there is a chance that we get a move down here into the $30,000 region, because that would be the next support area. Okay, so if Bitcoin gives up this region down here around 35, then we probably are looking at a move down here into 30 based on all of these lows here over the past year plus. So if we did get that, if Bitcoin were to close below 34,700, then I would likely take off a little bit of that position, at least a third, if not half of that position, just because, you know, again, it's spot only and it's money I don't really need. So I'm okay sitting through some drawdown, but I'm also not going to sit in the full position from 38 if I know that we're likely headed down here toward 30. Okay, but right now, Bitcoin's holding above 35, so we'll see where the day closes. As long as it's above 35, 40 to 42 is the next resistance. Close below 34,700 or so, and I do think we get that move down into the $30,000 region. All right, guys, so there it is. I hope this video has helped you. I know there's a lot of fear out there still in the market. There's a lot of people talking about $20,000 Bitcoin, 15,000, even some calls for 10,000. And here's what I'll say about that. While we could be in a bear market, we could see the market crash. And this hasn't been a crash. A 50% pullback is not a crash, at least not from Bitcoin. While the market could crash, okay, what I will say about that is when everybody is talking about it, when everybody's expecting it, that's not when markets crash. Markets crash when nobody is expecting it. There are just far too many people talking about a crash right now for it to happen. I personally think we get one more melt up later this year and then a crash maybe sometime at the end of the year or into 2023. But that's just my opinion, guys. We'll see how it goes. All right, guys, so I hope that helped. If it did, be sure to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and also leave your comment below. I do try to make it a point to respond to every comment. I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.